All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What is going on, YouTube? It is me, Nades, and our guy Ham. Sunday morning, and it's not a normal Sunday. It's a Happy Father's Day Sunday. Happy Father's Day to all the dads. I know Ham's over there. Probably has some nice plans with the family going on today. I'm a cat dad over here, but we are going to see the family, spend some time going to the pool, do a cookout and things like that. Probably like many of you guys are out there. But first, we're going to go through the slate here, 9-game slate on DraftKings, 10-game slate on FanDuel, because FanDuel did include the Boston-New York game on there, the first game of the doubleheader. But we'll break it down for you guys. If you guys are new, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We are over 1,500 subscribers. Next push, we're making it to 2K. If we can get to 1,600 subscribers this show, we need about 10 or 12. I might give you a little something on our premium side over here, a little tidbits for you guys. So we do appreciate, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you guys are new. But without further ado, let me bring in my guy, Ham. Ham, how we doing today? Happy Sunday.
Yeah. Hey, happy Sunday, Nate. Yeah. Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. Let's continue this heater. You know, Hoop's been on a heater double shipper yesterday. So happy Father's Day to him. He's probably bathing in his money right now. So happy Father's Day, and let's go make some money today and some MLB.
Yeah, absolutely. Our guy Hoop has absolutely been printing. Shipped the MMA yesterday, shipped the baseball yesterday. And if you read his core report on SHIPIT.com, it was pretty hard to lose money. He outlined it exactly what he was doing. Obviously, Hamwich does a FanDuel core report, slate plan every day. Him and G Ryzen split the FanDuel one, and then Hoop does it every day for DraftKings. And if you read it, I mean, it was pretty hard to lose money. Very good day over here yesterday at SHIPITNation.com in the MLB streets, along with the MMA streets. I know PGA is going on right now, US Open. It's the final day. See who brings that home. I know Tambo and Hoop have had everyone covered throughout the entire US Open tournament. Every golf tournament going forward, we'll have you covered as well. But let's jump in here. Let's go pitchers on DraftKings here. Let me go ahead and just add this filter so I can get the proper price guys for you, Ham, because I know you primarily play on FanDuel, but you do obviously do DraftKings as well. So let's go pitchers 9K and above. We got Bassett Hound down there at 9,200. And then all the way up to Morton. So you got Charlie Morton, John Gray, Luzardo, Peralta, and Bassett. I know we talked a little bit before the show. Charlie Morton is going to be probably the Kevin Gausman of last Sunday, 60-ish% ownership probably at least. Obviously, he does get a very good matchup at home here against Colorado. The Braves have been absolutely crushing, 26 runs in the last 3 games. So he should be pretty clearly in line for the win, but it's another game theory approach. It's the same thing, right? Gausman was the can't miss spot last Sunday. And I had 100% Gausman, absolutely buried me. Let's talk on that in particular, because I know you and I were talking before the show. So hit on that, and then any of these other guys. I know Luzardo's getting a decent amount of ownership here. Peralta's going to have some ownership as well. And then Bassett and John Gray are kind of the forgotten guys. So hit on this and any other things you have to add.
Yeah, I mean, you alluded to it. I mean, Charlie Morton, great matchup, great spot, sitting at a 7.5 K prop. Vegas thinks that he's going to shine today, and he should. But it is very similar to what we saw last week with Gausman. Cash, yeah, you're going to lock Morton in 100%. GPPs, I think it's easy to fade him. Like you said, we talked a little bit. You don't need to go the full 4-man on FanDuel, 5-man on the Rockies. But if you just got, let's say, a 3-man on both sites, a mini stack for the Rockies, you're already going to be extremely different there. And if those guys that you have in the lineup, hit a couple home runs, Morton doesn't get the quality start on FanDuel, then you're sitting pretty. But, I'll have minimal exposure to him in GPPs. I think I'll play him on one of my 3 main teams, but I will fade him on my other 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of with you. I'm playing one team today, obviously with Father's Day plans and things like that. Going to spend a lot of family time, enjoy the weather here in the Midwest. I do hope you guys do the same. Obviously, spend some time with the family. It's always good. We'll give you the guys the winners, give you the tools to be able to build the winners and still enjoy and not sit behind a computer screen all day on the weekend to do research and stuff. We got that covered for you over here at SHIPITNation.com with our tools. But I'm going to fade Morton here. And the reason I'm going to fade him is he still has a double-digit walk rate on the year here. He's priced like an ace on the slate because in respect to the aces on the slate, I mean, he is the guy, right? And he is facing Colorado. I've rostered the two cheap guys, Smith-Shawver and the lefty for the Braves against Schuster.
Okay.
Schuster. Yeah. Schuster. I rostered both of those guys against the Rockies, and they both did fine for the price tag. But, I mean, this is an ownership thing for me with one team. I have other guys I like. One of them in this range, in Freddie Peralta, that I like quite a bit, that I'm just going to try and plant my flag. And if you follow DFS and MLB DFS this week, not to say it's a kind of correlation or anything, but the top price pitchers have not been doing good. And you've been seeing these guys winning GPPs with their bats, right? And I'm just going to try and do that today here. So I'm going to fade Morton, but in cash, I think Morton is a cash lock. Absolutely 100%. I know Hoop's probably got him in his core over there. Hoop just doesn't worry about ownership. He just plays the best plays. And, well, I mean, he's playing the best plays right now and printing money. So pretty hard to go against our guy Hoop. Absolute crazy heater he's been on. But for Morton, I'm going to be out on Morton here, I think. John Gray, I'm not going to get to John Gray against Toronto. I do think he has upside. I'm just not going to do it. Luzardo is interesting because out of these top guys, Luzardo has the best metrics in terms of xFIP, in terms of walk rate, in terms of strikeouts. But these Nationals just do not strike out. They're pesky. I actually like some of these National bats a little bit against Luzardo. So I'm out on Luzardo. My number one in this range is actually going to be Freddie Peralta. Pirates haven't won a game in a week. They're starting to come back down to earth after they were kind of crushing for a little bit. I think Peralta, can navigate through this Pittsburgh lineup. There's strikeouts to be had here as well. Peralta's better pitcher at home as well. We got a pretty healthy projection on him. I'm seeing right around 25 to 30% ownership. So probably right around half the ownership that Charlie Morton's going to have. So I'm just going to plant my flag on Freddie Peralta here against the Pirates. I like him quite a bit. Bassett, I'm out on Bassett as well. Touch on Peralta, Ham, because I know you like Peralta as well. And then I think you're off of the rest of these guys in the range with me as well. But hit on Peralta real quick.
Yeah, Peralta, great matchup. Like you said, Pirates coming back down to earth. Been struggling at the plate this week in Milwaukee. Peralta sitting at a 6.5K prop, so I like that. You often talk about, you being the Brewers homer, his walks. If we can keep those walks in check, he should have a good matchup. But yeah, Freddie Peralta, great pivot off of Morton, especially on FanDuel on a one pitcher site. At least half the ownership there. Yeah, I'm off Bassett Hound as well. We'll talk about a few of the Rangers bats that I do like. Bassett's been up and down over the last several starts, but off on him on this start. John Gray has been lights out. Highest priced pitcher on FanDuel today. Got pushed back, I think a day, maybe two. Had a blister on his finger. Anytime, a pitcher has a blister, I'm always going to be concerned about that. So I'm off of John Gray for the blister and the price and the potential pop that the Blue Jays are going to have. So yeah, just in this range, it's Morton for me, Peralta, and then nobody else in this range.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So, I do think obviously you can play Morton in 150. I wouldn't full fade him. I would probably just be under the field. If you're going to go over the field, I would just lock him in because he is going to be 50, 60% owned. I would probably play him right around 25 to 30%, to be honest with you, about half the field ownership. At least gives you outs. I either like to be significantly under the weight or over the weight in MME if I'm going on a pitcher like that. But yeah, Freddie Peralta's number one in this range. Let's jump down to the next range. We got Tyler Anderson down at 7K, take it up to Louis Varland at 8,700. You got Dean Kramer in there, Luke Weaver, Greinke, Patrick Corbin. I don't have a ton of interest in this range outside of one guy that I think you and I are both aligned on at the top in Louis Varland against these Detroit Tigers. I get Detroit Tigers, right, have been pesky, as we like to say. They just hurt my feelings yesterday or the day before. It feels like yesterday it was, right? Because we were posting in our coordinators chat over here in the Discord that Hoop and G Rison's freaking Tigers did it again. But I do think I'm going to go right back to Louis Varland here. Just the price, the matchup, everything, and the nature of the pitching slate we have in front of us today, I think makes a lot of sense. So touch on him, touch on anyone else you have in this range. I mean, Dean Kramer gets Wrigley Field, but I don't know if I can get there at 8,100. I'm not a Dean Kramer guy. Patrick Corbin can't really get to against Miami, but Miami is going to get ownership on the slate because obviously everyone just kind of blindly stacks against Patrick Corbin for a good reason, right? But it is the Marlins, so we'll touch on that when we get into the bats. Any interest you have in these guys outside of Louis Varland?
Yeah, Louis Varland. I like him just strictly based off him playing the Tigers. You were off a day. Tuesday, Sonny Gray hurt our feelings. Friday, Joe Ryan hurt our feelings. And, of course, when they're not on the main slate, the Tigers scored 0 runs yesterday. So going right back to the Twins starting pitcher, Varland scares me just based off his strikeout numbers. I know the Tigers strike out a whole lot, but Varland right around 18-19% strikeouts on the year, which I'm not in love with. 8,700 I could maybe pay for. We'll have to look and see. Definitely no Corbin for me. I'm high on a couple of the Marlins. No Dean Kramer for me in Chicago. And who was the one at 7K you mentioned?
Tyler Anderson.
Yeah. No Tyler Anderson. A ton of interest in the Royals bats that we'll touch on when we get to the sticks. But this range, I'm just going Varland.
Yeah, I'm in lockstep with you. Just Varland for me. Varland will get 30+% ownership here. I'm just going to eat that. I'm already fading Morton. What I would not suggest in GPPs for everyone watching here is I typically don't like to pair the two chalkiest pitchers in Varland and Morton. Especially if you're going to play Braves bats with them. I just, that's not the route I go. Typically it's baseball, right? We just saw Kevin Gausman in the can't miss spot, quote unquote, last week, a week ago today, get destroyed. And I just don't play baseball the same way as everyone else is building teams. So I would not pair those two together. Even in MME, I might even make a rule to group though, just use at most one of those two. I just think that's a good rule to make. Because there is plenty of other pitchers on the slate. Even if we don't have a ton of interest on them, there is, still pitchers that come out of nowhere, right, and post good performances. And you always look at yourself like, where'd this come from? So definitely want to play those two together. But I'm out on everyone else in this range. Let's touch on this bottom tier here. We got one guy down here that's going to get a decent amount of ownership in Ronel Blanco, probably 30% plus, but he is just 5,500 facing these Cincinnati Reds here. Pretty healthy implied total for Houston, so should have some good run support behind him as well. Hit on him down at 5,500, and then any of these other guys, you got Jameson Taillon in there. We talked about him a little bit, but the lineup that Baltimore did roll out is a little scary for me for Taillon, so it kind of takes me off of him. And then obviously got Cookie Carrasco down here, Ortiz, Chase Anderson. Pretty much no one else I have interest in down here. Hit on it.
Yeah, two pitchers stand out to me in this range. Ronel Blanco, 5,500. He sticks out, and he's going to be popular, and that's for good reason. I think he is not a must-play in GPPs on DK, but 94 pitches his last 2 starts. He's making his 3rd start this year. Strikes out righties at a 24% clip on the year. His strikeout pitch, when I was doing some digging on him this morning, his strikeout pitch is the slider. Throws that about 17% of the time, and the Reds have a 19% swinging strike rate against his slider. So K prop at 5.5. If Blanco can get us 15 to 20, I think we're sitting pretty at that price tag. We'll pay that off. I'm going to have one team on DK today. He'll certainly be on that team. You alluded to it earlier. You're going to get different by having him in there. I want to get some different Braves bats in there, but Blanco is a great play on DK at 5,500. Other pitcher I have interest in is going to be Jameson Taillon. It's kind of gross, when you think of playing Jameson Taillon. His strikeouts aren't where we need them to be, but this lineup that I'm hoping the Orioles roll out have several more righties in it. If they can get 5+ righties in there, I may look at Jameson Taillon too. But wind blowing in, and he does fare well versus righties. Looking at these metrics at SHIPITNation.com, as you're always talking about, Nate, his metrics versus right-hand hitters are pretty elite on this slate. So if they can get 5+ Orioles, I'll definitely have some interest in Jameson Taillon.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you a little bit. I do think Blanco is definitely kind of the favorite, the clear-cut or the clear-cut play if you're going below the kind of mid 8K range, right? Because we didn't have a ton of interest in that 7K range. If you're going down low, I think you just play Blanco, to be honest with you, because I think 5-6 innings pitched, 5 or 6 strikeouts, maybe 2 or 3 earned runs, I think is plenty good enough. And I think that's a very viable stat line for him here. 15-ish DraftKings points, I think, right around where his projection is. We got him right around 15 and a half points here over here on our projection base. And if he gets that at 5,500, I mean, it's going to be hard to go against that, especially if the Braves bats do what they have been doing, right? Everyone kind of just wants to blindly fade the chalk offense. And while the Braves have made you pay for that the last couple of days, and I think they have a good chance to do it again here overall. So I do think Blanco is definitely the clear-cut guy down here. I don't even think you really need to mess with Taillon, to be honest with you. Taillon's got a worse projection. He's more expensive. Yeah, he is lower owned, but overall, I mean, if you're not playing Blanco with Charlie Morton, I think you're different enough, and that's where I would go. So I definitely like Blanco quite a bit down here. He's been great. The Cincinnati Reds, yeah, they do have the young power and the young rejuvenated offense with these young prospects coming up, but a lot of these guys still strike out quite a bit. I mean, Ellie De La Cruz still has a 30% K rate on the year. I get that he has power. He has stolen base upside, things like that. Matt McClain, same thing, 30+% K rate. Tyler Stevenson strikes out over 30%. The rest of the guys do limit strikeouts, so maybe it's a case there. But overall, I mean, they have a lot of right-handed hitters in here, and Ham, you did some digging, and they do swing and miss against that slider there. So I think he can have a pretty good outing here at 5,500. So like him quite a bit. That's going to do it for pitching. Pretty weak pitching slate overall, I think, here. That's why you're seeing pretty condensed ownership on a few of these guys, but for a good reason. I mean, just don't have a great pitching slate, and that's just the nature of the slate. So if the pitchers aren't crazy good, Ham, that means there should be some offense to be had in the slate. Let's jump in and talk about it. First game, we got the Wrigley Field game. Baltimore heading into Wrigley to face the Cubs. Dean Kramer on the mound, Jameson Taillon. Not the greatest hitting weather in Wrigley. Obviously, the wind can change and kind of swirl there in the Windy City. Some of these Orioles in particular, I mean, Gunnar Henderson should be batting leadoff here, and he's been one of the hottest hitters in baseball over the last couple weeks. Do you have interest in him at 4K, third base, shortstop eligible on DraftKings, and then any of these Cubs bats? Any other interest in this game?
Yeah, minimal interest in the Orioles. Alluded to it a minute ago. I mean, little interest in Taillon, but left-handers generally give Taillon more trouble. Yeah, Henderson up top, hitting well, hits the curveball pretty good, which is one of Taillon's main pitches. So if I did have any interest in the Orioles, it would be those top 3 batters, Henderson, Rutschman, and Santander. And then I think you could play, if you wanted to round it out on FanDuel with a 4th one, Ryan O'Hearn would be good if he's in the lineup today. So, top 3 Orioles for sure, batting left-handed. Would be about the extent of where I would go on the Orioles side. Cubs side, no interest in Kramer, but also no interest in these Cubs either. He's striking out both sides of the plate around 23%. Just looking at his pitches and the metrics that the Cubs present versus the pitches he throws, not very good. Wind blowing in. I'm completely off the Cubs today.
Yeah, I agree. I'm pretty much out on this game. I do think the Orioles make a little sense. Guaranteed ninth inning at bats. It is Taillon on the mound. He does allow nearly a 13% barrel rate. Strikeouts just around 20%. Adley Rutschman is locked in at the plate right now. I like a little mini stack there. Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, and right at the top, Santander you can always include in there. Ryan O'Hearn, if he's in there, that's a nice value tag at 2,800 first base outfield eligibility. So I really like those top 4 hitters there. Jorge Mateo, I bring him up all the time because he bats at the bottom of the lineup. Nobody really plays him. He is at the shortstop position. That is overall a pretty weak position, time in, time out, unless you spend all the way up at the top. And Mateo can always swipe you bags. So that those points add up quickly there. I mean, he swipes 2 bags. That's quick 10 points in your roster. And I mean, he could have got it there from a walk. So he doesn't even need to get a hit. Right. So I do like that quite a bit there. A nice little wraparound stack. I think he can make some sense there with Mateo. Out on the Cubs as well. I think we can jump into the next game here. This game is not on DraftKings, but it is on FanDuel. My guy Hamwich here crushes FanDuel. It's the Yankees versus the Red Sox. Caleb Ort is actually going to start for the Red Sox. I know it was supposed to be Pivetta, I believe, but Caleb Ort is going to start first game here for the Red Sox. Yankees heading into Fenway. Clark Schmidt on the mound for the Yankees. Touch on this one because I didn't even look at this game personally because I'm not playing FanDuel today. So touch on any interest you have for the FanDuel people out there.
Yeah, we'll make it quick. No interest in the Yankees. I talked about it on the last week's show. I typically shy away from bullpen games. I'm especially going to shy away from this one because the Red Sox had the day off yesterday with the rain, so all their arms are ready to go. So even if Ort does struggle early, we're going to bring in our best arms to lock down the Yankee side. So out on the Yankees, I do have a little bit of interest just looking at Clark Schmidt's pitches and where he struggles the most. It's going to be lefties and righties can hit him for the most part. Justin Turner, who had just a phenomenal night on Friday night, would go back to Justin Turner. Rafael Devers is in a great spot, and Yoshida as well, batting in the 5-hole today. So those three, both Sox, I have interest in. If I was going to complete a 4-man stack, I wouldn't leave out Duvall just because he's right there in the middle in between Devers and Yoshida. So 2 through 5, I'm in on for the Red Sox, but nobody on the Yankees.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't break it down too much, but I mean, obviously, Rafael Devers, Adam Duvall, crush at home, especially against right-handed pitching. I like those guys quite a bit. Connor Long's actually been hitting the ball really well. I think he's got a nice price tag there at $2,600. Nobody really plays catchers on FanDuel either. So that's a nice little way to get different. I know that from a roster construction. He's got a 269 expected ISO against right-handed pitching at home in Fenway. And he's been solid over the last 2 weeks or so. So don't mind that. Next game here, let's talk about it. It's the chalk of the slate. The Braves have been absolutely just scoring runs in bunches. Another double-digit run yesterday. 4 home runs, 5 home runs, something like that. Rosario hit a bomb. Arcia hit a bomb. Matt Olson was a day late for me hitting a bomb. But now they get Chase Anderson, who's actually been pretty good, to be honest with you. Expected ERA just under 4. Barrel rate just about 6%. Yeah, he doesn't strike out a ton of guys, just a 17% K rate. But is Chase Anderson going to slow these Braves down? Talk about it, Hamwich.
Well, I wore my Braves shirt just for today. We've been hot. And this is a crazy stat, Nades. The Colorado Rockies have played 29 games in 30 days. They've had 1 day off in the last 30 days. They got 3 more after this before they finally get another day off. It seems like every time Chase Anderson takes the mound, he is, he's the anti-chalk because everybody wants to play the bats against him. He slowed the Red Sox down a little bit. I just don't think he can slow this Braves team down. Even if he gets in a little bit of trouble, they're going to bring in a bullpen that has been throwing for 29 consecutive days or 29 of the last 30 days. And he's not very good. And these right-handed bats, I'm targeting those. Olsen was my long dong call of the day. He parked one grand slam. But I'm on the righties today. And it's easy to play Acuna. But on my main team, I'm playing all the righties not named Acuna. So that's Ozuna, Riley, Orlando Arcia, and Travis d'Arnaud, catcher of 2 bombs Friday night as well. I think you can get a little bit different that way. On DraftKings, I would add Acuna in there, but I do think it's another 10-run-plus day for the Braves. It's hot in Atlanta. And I think it's 92 degrees when I looked earlier today. Wind blowing out, so about 7 miles an hour. So definitely the Braves today for me.
Yeah, I see our guy Corey Pooler tuning in the chat. Happy Father's Day, Corey. We appreciate you tuning in. We've got about 194 people watching here. Only 41 likes. Pretty hurtful here. Hit the like button. We're bringing you the winners on Father's Day morning here. I got my guy Ham with me, and we're going to run it back. We're going to pick the winners, running hot over here. Hit the subscribe button as well. If we do get to 1,600 subscribers, need a couple more by the end of the show. I'll give you a little sneak peek. I'll give you our top-ranked hitter and our top-ranked pitcher over here, proprietary information on our SHIPITNation.com tools. And that's the nice thing about us, Ham. Yeah, we do give you the cores, right, to build a team. We give you the 4 hitters and the 2 pitchers on DraftKings, 1 pitcher and 4 hitters on FanDuel to build your team around. But we have the tools over here to help everyone build their own team, put their own twist on it. Look at the metrics, look at the numbers, look at the rankings, look at our projections, and basically help people build their own teams. And that's what we like to do over here. So even if Nade's core or Hoop's core or Hamwich's core don't hit, right, we still have members winning money every night using the tools over here that we provide. $59 a month, $5.99 for the year does get you access to all of that content, including the golf, including NHL when it comes back around, including NBA, including NFL, which is coming around pretty quickly here, and definitely get in now. Best price in the industry for that. And then add on our solver optimizer. We do partner with the solver over here. You can get our monthly package and the solver monthly package for all sports at $118.99 a month, which is absolutely absurd. Cheapest price by far in the industry. So definitely SHIPITNation.com. Head over there and then get access to all the premium minds in our Discord as well. I know Hofbrau's in the Discord, one of the best players in the world, in the Discord every single day, dropping nuggets, dropping tidbits, dropping game theory approach. Plenty other very, very intelligent members in there every single day as well. So definitely head over there. This game for me, you talk about these Rockies against Charlie Morton and his 60% ownership on a 9-game slate. Nolan Jones, I think, is kind of interesting, and Ryan McMahon there. A nice little 2-man stack, pretty contrarian, should hit right in the middle. They're hitting 3rd and 5th. Both of them can hit home runs. Lefties against Charlie Morton there. So I don't mind those two guys in particular. I did want to hit on the Rockies a little bit there, a little double leverage situation. And then on the Braves, I mean, 1 through 9, you can play these guys. I would prefer the right-handed power. Obviously, that starts with Ronald Acuna. But if you're stacking these Braves up, I mean, Ronald Acuna is 6,600. And everyone that stacks these Braves, for the most part, is going to include Acuna for a good reason in their stacks. Friday night, I left Acuna out. He only scored 9 DraftKings points, I think, right? And I played the other guys, and my team was different already just because I left Acuna out. I played the other guys. Travis d'Arnaud, I absolutely love. He just rakes. He just crushes right-handed pitching, especially at home. I called him for my home run call on Friday. He hit the double dong. He was in our cores over at SHIPITNation.com. I love him here again today. Matt Olson actually crushes right-handed pitching, so I do like Matt Olson quite a bit. Hit a bomb last night, as well. Austin Riley has been not incredible as of late, but right-handed power does smash Chase Anderson here. So I do like Austin Riley quite a bit, but you are paying for it. $5,500 on DraftKings is an expensive price tag to play. Overall, I mean, Marcell Ozuna, I like him. But overall, I mean, 1 through 9, you can definitely play these Braves. But Chase Anderson's been known to kind of put a damper in the chalk batter. So could happen here again today. I actually like some other contrarian offenses quite a bit too on this slate that we'll touch on, but Braves, no question, definitely a fantastic play. The next team that's getting quite a bit of ownership here, I'm seeing one of the highest owned stacks on the slate is the Miami Marlins, heading against Patrick Corbin here, obviously guaranteed 9th inning at bats. We know Patrick Corbin. We've seen this a time or two before, right? Blindly kind of stack against this guy, just not good. Gives up home runs. You can steal on him as well. And then hit on these Nationals against Luzardo, because I actually like some of these Nationals I'll hit on in particular, because the nice thing about the Nationals, they put the ball in play, and that's what you want, right? You put the ball in play, things can happen. So hit on this game because the Marlins for sure are going to get a decent amount of ownership on this slate.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get to 100 likes, Nades. I think, almost 200 watching. We got to get 100 likes to give out some of the goods at the end of the show. That's just my take. But yeah, if these Marlins are extremely popular, I will probably be off. But I think it's hard to ignore Jorge Soler and just his numbers against Corbin. I mean, Corbin is mainly a sinker and slider pitcher, throws that pitch roughly 76% of the time. X-ISO for Soler versus those two pitches, 619 versus the slider, 754 versus the sinker in his last 30 days. So Soler already has a ton of pop, and the two pitches that Corbin's going to throw 3 out of every 4 times, he's punishing. So give me a Jorge Soler, then I'll have to do some digging on the other ones. But if they're what kind of ownership projections are you seeing on them right now, Nades?
I mean, I'm seeing them even higher owned as a total stack than Atlanta. I mean, those two guys are number one. I'm seeing right around 12% total stack ownership, which is, I mean, about 3% higher than Atlanta.
Yeah,
even.
yeah.
Obviously, the price tags are a lot cheaper than Atlanta, so that's likely the reason. But a lot of teams are probably going to go Atlanta and Miami combination, to be honest with you.
Yeah. If that's the case, I'm probably off the Marlins, and I'll have to take a closer look at Soler. I really like Soler. I wrote him up in the slate plan, but De La Cruz batting leadoff today, which he normally bats, I think, fourth or fifth. So that's a good boost for him. Guaranteed night at bat that you talked about. I'm on the other side of the plate or the team. I'm not as high on the Nats as you are. I know we talked a little bit about them earlier. Anytime, lefty, righty, batting leadoff, Lane Thomas is always a good bet. I'll let you dive in deeper to who you like on the Nats, but Luzardo got lit up last time out in Seattle, so that'll probably take some of his ownership down, I would think. Although you said he was pretty highly owned, but yeah, Nats don't strike out a lot. Garrett got to him yesterday. So talk to me a little bit about the Nats, Nades, and what you're liking with them.
Yeah, I see Jorge Soler in the chat. People saying they're not starting unless he got scratched. I do see he is in the lineup. I didn't see any alert that he got scratched, but he was in the confirmed lineup that I did look at. So unless he did get scratched, I do believe he is in that lineup. For the chat, I saw a couple comments in there saying he isn't. But if he did get scratched, obviously do not play him. But if he's in there, I mean, he smashes left-handed pitching. So one of the top bats on the slate, 4,900 is a nice little value. Oh, he did get scratched. Okay, thanks, DFS player. I appreciate that. Well, definitely do not play Jorge Soler then. That definitely hurts this Marlins team even more because he is their home run guy in that lineup. So I'm off the Marlins here. I get the reasoning against Corbin. I'm just not going to do it, especially if they're going to get ownership on this slate. I just never play the Marlins, and I'm not going to start here. On the national side, I think Lane Thomas is an elite option here. Has a little BVP too for the BVP truthers out there, but he's got a 10% K rate on the year against left-handed pitching. Expected ISO numbers over 230. He just gets the job done. 4,100 is a nice price tag to pay as well on DraftKings in the outfield position. Bat and leadoff. I think he gets the job done here. I think he takes Luzardo deep, not just because of BVP, but overall, I mean, he's just been good. He's been solid. He'll steal some bases as well. So I do like him. A nice little two-man stack there right at the top, 1-2, him and Luis Garcia. So I like those two quite a bit there. And then Vargas actually has some pretty good numbers in his limited sample size down there, second base, shortstop eligibility. So you could do like an 8-1-2 stack there. Nice little mini stack. Nobody will play him. Nice little leverage against Luzardo too, because people are going to play Luzardo here. I just hate playing pitchers. We talk about this all the time, Ham, when you and I are on the shows. I just hate playing pitchers against the Nats. They just don't strike out. Could Luzardo do it? Yeah, obviously. I mean, he could. He's got a lot of good strikeout stuff, 27% K rate on the year, but he does get barreled at 11% clip. So I'm hoping Lane Thomas can barrel one here because I do like him to hit a bomb here. So that's my interest on the Nats side. On the Marlins, I'm out on the Marlins, especially with no Soler in that lineup. Next game, I do have a decent amount of interest on one of the sides here, and it's going to be kind of a buy low spot for me. I get the Cardinals have been struggling here, but I continue to pick on Carlos Carrasco. It's not going to change here. I like these Cardinals quite a bit as a contrarian stack on this slate. They're my main five-man on this slate. I'm just planting my flag, hoping that they figure it out here, and no better time than against Cookie Carrasco here. So hit on this one, Hamwich.
Yeah, for sure. Cookie Carrasco striking out under 15%. I think he might have pitched last Sunday. We talked about him too. Zero interest in Carrasco. This right-handed power for the Cardinals is what has me interested in. I think I can get Paul DeJong low owned, especially at the shortstop position, batting seventh. Jordan Walker, who hit a bomb yesterday. Nolan Arenado, who's been struggling at the plate, another righty. Goldschmidt, Mike Card mentioned it earlier in the chat. I had Goldie hitting a bomb yesterday, said Senga struggled against right-handed pitching, and he gave up 3 or 4 bombs yesterday. So going right back to the righties today in St. Louis, I think Carrasco struggles. This park, gives me a little bit of pause, but I'll do some, you said that they're your favorite stack and always ride with Nades. So definitely have interest in those righties. So you can kind of get those lefties in there and kind of to fill in the rest of your stack if you wanted to, stack up, if you didn't want any gaps in there in your stack. On the other side, the Mets, no real interest in the Mets. I can't pronounce that pitcher's name, but Liberatore, I guess is how you say it. He can't strike anybody out either. Just the pitches he throws, though, mainly a fastball and a sinker. The Mets have been struggling versus in the last 30 days, those types of pitches. So, no interest on the Mets whatsoever. If I did, it would be the right-handed hitters, and they don't profile too well versus Liberatore today. So no Mets for me. Righty power on the Cardinals. I will have interest in that.
Yeah, I'm in lockstep with you here in the Cardinals. Nice little pivot off of Austin Riley there at third base too. Nolan Arenado, a little bit cheaper. Ideally, a pretty similar matchup. Both hitters are pretty equal right now. Austin Riley's not been hitting the cover off the baseball. Same thing with Arenado, but it could change here. I like these Cardinals. Nobody's going to go to them. And we know the Cardinals, what they can do, right? I mean, what they go on, like a 19-game winning streak, something like that, or 19 out of 20 games. Obviously, they haven't been is great now, but I mean, Nolan Gorman hitting in the 4-hole today, Jordan Walker in the 5-hole. I like those guys quite a bit. Nolan Gorman actually smashes righties. I get he has struggled over his last 40 or so plate appearances, has like 20 some strikeouts in there or something, which is a little concerning, but hey, I don't care if he strikes out 3 times if he hits a bomb on that 4th at bat, right? So I like Nolan Gorman. Paul DeJong, I like quite a bit down there, 3,500 at the shortstop position. I talk about shortstop a lot. Unless you're paying all the way up at the top and guys like Corey Seager, Bobby Witt, those guys, I mean, it drops off pretty quickly. So I do like him quite a bit down there in the 7-hole. Has pretty good numbers against right-handed pitching as well. So overall, I do like the Cardinals. I just don't think a lot of people are going to go to them. I'm just going to try and be on the Cardinals before the market kind of flocks to them. And I typically always stack against Carrasco. I did it last week, and I'm going to do it here again with these Cardinals. Guaranteed 9th inning at bats as well, which is always nice. On the Mets side, I played the Mets yesterday. Nemo hit a bomb. He was in my core yesterday, but I'm going to be out on the Mets here against Liberatore. I get Liberatore's not a great pitcher. Expected ERA right around 7. Strikeout rate is low. Gets barreled at a double-digit rate, but I just can't do it. There's other teams I like more than the Mets on this one. Next game on the slate, we got the Reds heading in to face Blanco. Blanco's going to be 30 to 35%. Obviously, it is a pretty good matchup. He has been solid. His price tag is the reason he's getting ownership because everyone wants to spend up for these expensive Braves bats and play Morton at the top. And you need someone cheap in there. And Blanco is the guy that everyone's flocking to for a good reason. Has a 24% K rate in his limited sample size this year that he has started. And these Reds have an 18% strikeout rate as a team overall on the road this year against right-handed pitching. So kind of interesting here. I don't know if he's going to have the K upside, but some of these Reds have been decent as of late. Touch on this one in particular in terms of bats. How much?
Yeah, while you were talking, I was just going back just to look, and it looks like we have 5 right-handed hitters and 4 lefties. Obviously, he had 12 swinging strikes on his slider his last start out against Toronto. 4 on his fastball, so 16 total swinging strikes. When he throws a slider, folks are missing 18% of the time. I don't see how you can't play him just at that price. We just have to get to 15 points. 15 to 18 pays off his tag. So, I mean, can the lefties, Ellie De La Cruz, who's been cold, can he take one over the fence? Yes. If we could just limit the runners, I think we're good. I think we're good there. I mean, I'm still on him, and none of the Reds bats interest me there. On the other side, on the Astros side, just looking at how they profile versus Weaver, they've been scuffling at the plate without Yordan this weekend against this Reds pitching. They had some runners on yesterday, but just really couldn't do anything. Abreu's hit a couple bombs the last 2 days after he couldn't hit it out of the infield. But I'm off these Astros as well. Probably just going through the lineup, just a complete X off for me, Nades. What about you?
Yeah, I want to hit on it. I saw Andrew Martinez. Again, I didn't see an alert from Underdog or on my daily starting lineups pages that I look at to update our tools over here. I did not see Soler scratched. I get that's one thing to call out too. Don't listen to the sites, FanDuel and DraftKings lineups that they put out. Sometimes they're accurate, but a lot of times they do stuff like this. I mean, FanDuel had I forgot the player the other day saying he was the pitcher. Rich Hill. They had Rich Hill not starting, and Rich Hill was clearly starting. So definitely don't pay attention to the the site. Because like I said, I've nowhere on any of the stuff that I look at that I trust. I saw Soler scratch. So that's one little tidbit for the chat is don't pay attention to DraftKings and FanDuel lineups that they put out. There's other websites and tools to do that, and follow Underdog on Twitter as well. So I do think Jorge Soler is the top bat on the slate against left Mr. Patrick Corbin there batting in the 2-hole. So did want to bring that up real quick. Coming back to this game for the Reds and the Astros, 8.5 total here. Not a ton of interest in either side of this game for bats. My interest would just be in the Reds. Some of these guys that can hit bombs because Blanco is going to get ownership for a good reason. I mean, he's cheap. He does have some K upside in this matchup. And really, I mean, realistically, he gets you 14 to 15 DraftKings points at that price tag. That's plenty on this slate, especially with a pretty weak pitching slate overall. So I get the reason he's going there. My interest would just be on some of these Reds guys, De La Cruz, Jonathan India, Jake Fraley, some of those guys that can hit some power, hit some bombs here. And the Astros, I just haven't been playing these Astros much with Jordan Alvarez out of the lineup. You can always play a guy like Kyle Tucker there batting in the 3-hole. 5,300, you do have to pay for it a little bit. Yainer Diaz has actually been hitting pretty well. First base catcher eligibility there, 3K. 259 expected ISO at home against right-handed pitching. Luke Weaver, you can barrel him up as well. So I don't hate that at 3K flat there at the catcher position. I think he makes a little sense. And then Chas McCormick, I do have a little interest in too. So not a ton of interest in full stacks on either side of this game, but some one-offs and some mini stacks I think are viable. Preferably on the red side, but those Astros bats I did bring up, I do think you can make some sense to play. Next game on the slate here, we got Kauffman Stadium. We got the Angels who hit a bunch of bombs yesterday. Do they do it again here, Hamwich? I know you were on the Angels. Hoop was on the Angels. Hoop shipped the 30K yesterday with the Angels and the Braves. Do you run it back here again? I mean, Mr. Shohei Ohtani is absolutely locked in at the plate right now. 6,500. If you want to talk about a little Acuna pivot, go right to Mr. Ohtani there that could match him in terms of upside, even outscore him at the outfield position, 6,500 on DraftKings. Touch on the Angels and the Royals here.
Yeah, great game yesterday, 10-9, so very DFS rich. Shipped Hoop a winner, and you think you got to go right back with these two pitchers. I mean, Zach Greinke is well past his prime, throws slow pitches up there. I think, Ohtani and Trout, is where you start on the Angels side. I'm a big believer in if the starter sucks and then you go look at their bullpen, kind of see where they are. Well, the Royals bullpen sucks and it's taxed. So, they're going to get to Greinke. It's just finding the right four. I really like the Angels today, in my top stacks on the slate plan. So I think you can go just looking at the lineup. I mean, I don't want to get down there, too low down in the 8-9, but I would say one through 5 or 6. Renfroe profiles well, Drury profiles well. Came off 2 bombs yesterday. Really like the Angels today. Conversely, on the Royals side, I like them as well. I wrote it up this morning. Angels threw their best 2 relievers yesterday. I think they threw 6 total relievers. Their bullpen very taxed. Tyler Anderson not any good. Bobby Witt. You talked about the shortstop position earlier and getting a low-owned shortstop. Bobby Witt and Corey Seager are going to see a ton of ownership. So that makes the Dijon pick, in your Cardinal stack even better. But Bobby Witt profiles very well. Perez, if he's back in the lineup, Garcia looks good. Melendez lefty on lefty. Prado even at the top lefty on lefty because theoretically if I'm stacking the Royals up, Anderson's not going to be in there too long, and so that righty or that lefty matchup now becomes righty lefty, and so really like the Royals full game stack or stack one of these teams up with another one of the teams that you like.
Yeah, I like both sides of this one. I'm just pulling up the weather here. Wind is kind of blowing to right field a little bit, kind of blowing across the field, but it is going to be 70 degrees. Looks like a little bit of rain to start the game, which isn't too much of a worry, I don't think. Right around 70 degrees the entire duration, so not as good of hitting weather as we have seen here, but the ball has been flying in Kauffman Stadium here. Ohtani and Trout, definitely my starting points if I'm going to the Angels. Taylor Ward even, I like those top 3 quite a bit. I don't love the bottom of this lineup a ton, but Andrew Velasquez just continues to steal bases. He's at the shortstop position again, 2,200, nice little value play there if you need one, and adds to a nice little wraparound stack. Obviously, you're not playing. I'm more just looking for stolen bases with him. 2,200, nice value play. I think you can play him. Brandon Drury, obviously, I don't like the Rengifo and the Stefanik guy too much. Chad Wallach has been all right, 2,700, but overall not a ton of interest. I think the Angels are more a mini stack for me, just because I don't like a ton of them, but I can see the reason why people would 5-man them over here on our stacks. They do have a pretty healthy stack projection as well, so definitely don't sleep on those guys. On the Royals, I mean, Bobby Witt's one of the top shortstop plays on the slate. Top bats overall on the slate. I mean, he just smashes left-handed pitching, will steal bases as well. So he can add up. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see him score 20-plus DraftKings points here today against a lefty. And if he hits a bomb, that's even more. So I like him quite a bit. Michael Garcia, I'll continue to bring him up. He's hitting in the 4-hole today, 2,400. Third base, shortstop eligible. I like him quite a bit. 257 expected ISO against left-handed pitching at home on the season. Strikeout rate of just 11%. So he's going to put the ball in play, has some power to hit it out. I like him quite a bit. And that's a nice little low-owned piece. Matt Duffy leading off actually has some pretty good numbers against left-handed pitching on the year in his 22 plate appearances in Kauffman Stadium. 232 expected ISO, strikeout rate of just 11.5%. So he's just 2,300 batting leadoff. So I do think you can play some of these Royals. And I typically always play these Royals at home, at least mini stacks. I don't like 5-man stacking them too much just because they lack home run upside, right? We like home runs in DFS, but those top 5 guys I like quite a bit. And Michael Garcia, or top 4, sorry, Perez, Bobby Witt, and Duffy. So just more mini stacks in this game for me to pair with the Braves, pair with the Cardinals, pair with some of these other teams. But let's jump into the next one here. We got Luis Ortiz on the mound for the Pirates heading into face my Brewers in Milwaukee here. Freddie Peralta, I know you and I both have a lot of interest in him, so I'm pretty much out on the Pirates. The only guy I would look at personally is Jack Sawinski, just because he has the power to hit it out of anywhere, especially a pretty good hitter's park here in Milwaukee. Crushes right-handed pitching too, so definitely in your non-Freddie Peralta teams, I would look at getting some exposure to Jack Sawinski. And then hit on any of these Brewers bats. They do have a pretty healthy implied run total against Ortiz, who's he's not gonna pitch very long, and then gonna see the Pirates bullpen after that. Hit on any interest you have in this one.
Yeah, no interest. I mean, in the Pirates. I mean, Sawinski can obviously go yard. Went double dong for you the other night. But no real interest in stacking those guys up. No real interest in Sawinski either. Just has that potential. The Brewers, I mean, no real interest in them either. They do get Winker back today, batting in the second hole. Babe Ruth, a.k.a. Joey Weimer, who's gone yard back-to-back nights and has a great haircut, batting in the 9-hole. Like him, if you want to play there. Ramel Tapia, for new Brewer great, Nate. So you need to get a Tapia jersey for the Brewers. He's batting in the 7-hole today. No, don't really like him overall. Owen Miller, normally batting leadoff, batting 6 today. If I was going to do anything, it would just be to get weird and would go maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 on the Brewers, because I do not believe in Luis Ortiz. He's not going to pitch long, like you said, nor this Pirates bullpen. So minimal interest in the Brewers, no interest in the Pirates.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm out in this game for bats personally. I mean, Joey Weimer continues to hit home runs. 2,900. He's got double-digit home runs now in the year. Has a pretty good eye at the plate as well. Sees the ball pretty well. Don't hate that. Christian Yelich, Willie Adames, I think he could play, but overall, not a ton of interest in going to these Brewers and Pirates. Jack Sawinski is the only interest I would have in non-Peralta teams. Pretty easy cross-off spot for me. Next game, we have the Detroit Tigers heading into Minnesota to face Louis Varland. I know both of us brought up Louis Varland. Garrett Hill on the mound for the Tigers. These Twins have an implied run total over 5. Carlos Correa is back in the lineup, or hitting incredible right now as of late, but there is no Buxton in the lineup here, and that definitely hurts the Twins offense a little bit. I haven't been too much on the Twins this year. Do you have any interest in the Twins going against the Tigers and the bullpen here?
Yeah, no interest, no interest for me. And the Twins are kind of like Blake Snell to me, right? When the Twins are chalk and Blake Snell's chalk, you get off. When they're not talked about, you play them. And what Blake Snell do last night when he wasn't chalk and wasn't on the main slate, he went out and threw 12 Ks. So no real interest in the Twins, but I wouldn't hate it if you did. If you wanted to stack up, Joey Gallo obviously has some power. Kepler has some power. Correa's been tearing the cover off the ball, like you mentioned. This Tigers bullpen, not very good. So, might need to take a deeper look at that. I read earlier where there were some weather concerns. So I would just want to double check that, make sure that the weather was good there, not in a dome. So take a look at the Twins, and then no interest in the Tigers. We talked about Varland earlier. So, no interest in the Tigers.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. I don't see a ton of weather. I'm seeing partly cloudy and cloudy throughout the duration of the game, about 76, 75 degrees, wind kind of blowing in from right center. But definitely do check on that. Overall, I mean, not a ton of interest in this game. I just don't play the Twins too much. But Carlos Correa has been locked in at the plate. Max Kepler is probably my favorite bat on the Twins, 3,100 in the outfield. I do think he makes some sense. Hits right-handed pitching pretty well as well. Pretty low strikeout rate. But overall, I mean, this Twins team strikes out nearly 30% at home against right-handed pitching. So it's just hard for me to stack a team that strikes out a lot, right? It's hard to score runs when you got guys that do get on base and then the next couple guys strike out. It's just hard to produce runs. So out on those guys. Last game on the slate here for the main slate. Obviously, there is a 5-game afternoon slate on DraftKings that we do have on our tools over here that will have you some content covered. We'll probably post some cores in the Discord as well for the premium members. But it's Toronto heading into Texas to face John Gray. Chris Bassett on the mound for the Blue Jays. 4 implied run total for the Blue Jays. 4.5 for the Rangers, and it's the Rangers at home against a right-handed pitcher in Chris Bassett. Do you have interest in some of these Rangers? And then hit on any of these Blue Jays that you might have interest in against John Gray in that blister.
Yeah, do have some interest in the Rangers. Like you said, they do really well versus right-handed pitching at home. Corey Seager, top 3 shortstop for me up there with DeJong and Bobby Witt. He'll take some ownership for certain. And for good reason. He profiles extremely well versus Bassett. And then kind of my pivot off of any catcher that we're looking at today, Jonah Heim batting in the 6th hole today, I believe. Really love Jonah Heim. Profiles extremely well versus Bassett. He is in the 6th hole. If you need a pivot, Jonah Heim, great spot today versus Bassett. On the Blue Jays side, not going to be playing any Blue Jays. I could see where if you wanted to get contrarian and go versus John Gray, who's coming off that blister, I could certainly see that. They have a ton of pop in their lineup. It's all righties, right? In the lineup for Toronto. And when talking John Gray, strikes out about 30% of the time versus righties. So no interest there for me. But if you want to get contrarian, I could see where you were. But Corey Seager, Jonah Heim, and then if you wanted to stack it up, find 2 guys that fit in between 2 and 6, and I think you might have some pay dirt there versus the Bassett Hound.
Yeah, I will raise you, Mr. 8-hole hitter Ezekiel Duran, outfield shortstop eligible, 2,900. The dude smashes right-handed pitching, and he's under 3K. We'll steal some bases as well. 316 expected ISO in his 60 plate appearances at home in Texas against right-handed pitching. So I like him quite a bit there. Jonah Heim, Mitch Garver, I think you can play both of them. I prefer Jonah Heim, especially at the little bit more expensive price tag at 4,300 there. Adolis Garcia smashes righties as well. Corey Seager has been absolutely locked in. You are paying for him. He is 6K. A little bit more expensive than Bobby Witt. They both crush their handedness pitchers that they're facing here today on the slate. But these Rangers, don't sleep on these Rangers. I talk about the Rangers every single time they're on the slate at home against right-handed pitching. The roof will be closed in Texas pretty much the remainder of the season, I would assume, with it being 90-plus degrees in Texas for the next couple of months. So definitely the roof's likely closed as well today. Doesn't matter too much. These Rangers still hit the ball Obviously, I like it when the roof is open there because the ball flies even more. On the Blue Jays side, I can't play these Blue Jays, man. I fell into the trap a day or two ago. I'm not going to do it here. But I mean, Vlad Guerrero, you can always make a case to play Vlad. Dalton Varsho's actually been pretty good too, 3,600. I think you can play him. But overall, I'm out on the Blue Jays. But I do think the Rangers are one of my favorite stacks of the day. And I'm not seeing them getting a ton of ownership, right? Marlins are going to get ownership, and the Braves are going to get ownership. And Mr. Jorge Soler, I know we brought him up quite a bit. His son is in attendance for Father's Day, too, in Miami. There's a lot of pictures of that on Twitter. And he is in the lineup batting second against Mr. Patrick Corbin. So let's do it. We got to 97 likes, a little hurtful. If you guys have not hit the like button already, please do so. 283 watching here. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe if you have not already. This is brought to you 6 days a week, and we are going to possibly be adding a 7th day with Mr. Hamwich himself on the YouTube channel here, breaking down every baseball slate possible. ShipItNation.com, $59 a month, $5.99 for the year. Does get you access to all of our tools, our proprietary projections for all the major sports, including MMA, which Mr. Hoop himself did just ship 30K yesterday in MMA. Shipped 30K as well using his slate plan that he published for the members directly. I saw his tweet, and he screenshotted his slate plan that he posted for the members. And if you followed it, you printed money. Won him 30 stacks in his pocket. So nice little day for Hoop yesterday. Hoop's got a nice little heater going over here. I know G. Risen's been printing on FanDuel. Hamwich shipped 20K not too long ago over there on FanDuel as well himself. So ShipItNation.com does get you access to all of that. And I see you guys hitting the like button, so we do appreciate that. That's going to bring us into the coveted segment of the show. Hamwich, I'm going to kick it to you. Give me your top pitcher first, and then we'll do the dawn calls after. So what's your top pitcher, not including one of the chalk guys at the top?
Top pitcher. I've talked a lot about him today, and he's going to be high owned, but that doesn't faze me. Ronel Blanco throwing that slider versus the Reds will swing over the top of it. 8 Ks for Ronel Blanco today.
All right, Ronel Blanco, 8 Ks, he says. Okay. I can stand by that. I'm going to go my pitcher. I'm going to go right to my hometown team here. I'm going to go Mr. Freddie Peralta, 9,700. I think these Pittsburgh Pirates have come down to earth a little bit here. If Freddie can control the walks, I think he has the strikeouts through this Pittsburgh lineup here. I think the Brewers do get the win here tonight or today at home as well for a nice little Father's Day victory. So I'm going to go Freddie Peralta, 9,700 to post a nice DraftKings score and contest with those top guys on the slate. Let's jump into it. Our top hitter or dawn call, if you will, on the slate. How much? Go ahead.
Hey, real quick before I get into the dawn call, Mr. Gerg put in the chat that Pete Alonso's back in the Mets lineup, and I did not have that. Went back and did some digging. Profiles extremely well. I mean, obviously, he profiled extremely well versus a lot of pitchers, but Pete Alonso, great hitter today. If you need a pivot first baseman, maybe I'll Matt Olson. Yeah, I was thinking Greg Olson, but Matt Olson. But my dawn call of the day, Mr. Him, Jonah Heim, Texas Rangers.
Sir Jonah Heim, you talked about him, and I'm gonna raise the people to the same team. I just talked about him quite a bit. I'm gonna go a value guy, Mr. Ezekiel Duran, 2,900. I think he takes one deep here today off Chris Bassett. And then for the people, another little value outfielder. I'm gonna give you two just for the response here on Father's Day. I'm gonna go Max Kepler for the Minnesota Twins to take one deep as well. I like both of those guys. Nice little value pieces to round out your teams, one-offs, two-man stacks there. But that's going to do it for Father's Day. We appreciate all the support you guys have given us. Right around 300 watching. Hit the like button on the way out. Hit the subscribe if you have not already. We are having another giveaway right here for YouTube viewers on if we do get to 2,000 subscribers. When we do get to 2,000 subscribers, we will have another giveaway. Details will be posted on Twitter, and talked about throughout the rest of our shows that we are having. But for Father's Day, we appreciate everyone hanging out. Have some time, spend some time with your dads, spend some time with your kids. If you are a dad, we appreciate everyone. Good luck today. But for Hamwich, I'm Nades. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.